G'day friends and fans, welcome to Dave Talk Stuff. Men are walking away because women are deliberately destroying relationships. But men knew that already. Now, ladies, this one's going to sting, but the truth has to be told because the reality is, most of the time, it's not men who are ruining relationships. It's women. Women deliberately sabotaging themselves with toxic behavior. Well, there are 5 toxic behaviors which cause men to lose trust, to lose faith, to walk away. First is the victim mindset. This is where you are poor me, and of course, this attitude ends up turning every discussion into an argument. You're oppressing me, you're not listening to me. Feminism has taught you this. It's taught you to challenge authority, to tear down the patriarchy, to treat marriage as oppression, to treat men as the enemy. So instead of cooperation, mutual trust and respect, you're seeking to assert yourself, to, regardless of the situation, to seek domination. And you're always trying to win. And when you don't, you cry, you blame, and you turn everything into an argument. And then you'll go in a destructive mood, lashing out, and then you'll say, poor me, look what you made me do. Yeah, you aren't the solution, you are the problem. You will never resolve the problem. You are dodging accountability until you get rid of this attitude. But let's say you did establish dominance over a man. What then? It won't last. You'll never be happy. You're right. You have to be the victim, so you find a new man to dominate you in order to play the victim. Next is attention seeking. Now, this has exploded thanks to social media, but it's always been there. The archetypes of the dancer, the actor, or actress, or performer, or the artist, however you want to call it, the person who needs an audience to validate themselves. I'm not talking about a performer, I'm talking about a performer who needs external validation. Now, if you need external validation to feel good, now this is not just social media, but this goes for the need to have your friends, strangers, passers-by, admire you for your looks, your clothing, or your achievements. You'll never be happy, right? If you're only validation in this world is to stand on stage and thank a small handful of people, even though it takes 15 to 20,000 to make a movie. Yeah, there's something wrong with you, but it happens with social media as well. Models, actresses, all the way down to housewives. The truth is you're insecure, right? If you need to constantly gear your behavior towards the opinions of others, to have them judge you, and then to validate you through praise, right? What's happening? Well, you're going to do more and more behavior for the crowd. You are going to be more outlandish. You're going to constantly seek validation. You're going to expose more and more flesh. Now, what happens? Why? Well, eventually they're going to judge you for the man you're with. You're going to judge him. He'll never meet up to your standards. He'll never measure up. The crowd is petty. It's jealous. It doesn't like when an actress. Look at every major sitcom. Why do they end when they get married? Because either the woman is jealous of them, either women get jealous, or the men are no longer interested in the actress because she's now married. That's a normal behavior. But the truth is, you forget that happens in real life. As soon as you're married, men are supposed to lose interest in you. So why are you constantly seeking the validation of men when you're supposed to be with someone? Again, if you need external validation, it will never end until you break the cycle. Third is unhealed trauma. right? Well, specifically, holding on to past failures and disappointments, always bringing them up, always reminding others that they have disappointed you. If you end up like that, you'll never be happy. You'll end up rewriting your own history where you are the victim and now you're engaged in not in one but two cycles of toxic behavior where you're now seeking perfection in others while demanding everyone accept that you are perfect, and you are trapping yourself in misery, in perpetual disappointment, where you are now collecting more trauma, and that never ends. And by playing the victim, you're reinforcing that behavior, and that will never end. Fourth is blame, and this is linked to other traumas as well, where now you are blaming everyone else for your mistakes. You cannot own your mistakes. You have to blame others. You do that and you destroy trust. It's that easy, right? If you forget to do something, you own it. If you're bored, that's up to you. That is on you, because there are plenty of things to do in this world. And there are plenty of ways to be happy without cheating, without lying, without causing arguments. Right, 5. Fourth, before I move on, a lot of people call blame drama. I know, but all of them are drama, okay? So, moving on. 5, testing. Now, these are only the top 5. There are many other behaviours, but the top 5 are the most reasons for female fatigue. Now, testing. Testing is, some people say testing is number 1, but different lists have different ways of putting this. But if a woman has to test a man, she doesn't love that man. You're deliberately sabotaging a relationship. You're eroding trust. I know people say, oh, but women subconsciously test men. That's not true. What they call subconscious testing a man is actually the 3 stages of building a relationship, where you're finding out each other's strengths, weaknesses, and through non-verbal communications, building trust, and, of course, building the barrier, the social barrier from public to private, to engage in a relationship for the purposes of procreation. That's the natural relationship. That is not testing, that is relationship building. People often mistake, and the majority of psychologists mistake, relationship building for testing. Because once you are in a relationship, if you're testing past the 3rd date, if you need to create drama to have that little bit of spice just to get in the mood, you are eroding trust, you are destroying the relationship. It is not necessary to constantly prove a man loves you. But ladies, relationship magazines, relationship coaches, women's magazines, best-selling books, they all do it. Why? Because misery is cheap, misery is mass-producible, misery is an addiction. Ladies love their emotions, so validating their ego and telling them that testing is normal and natural and should be encouraged is merely to exploit you. All these behaviours are encouraged by feminists to exploit men, but to also exploit you. Why? Well, with feminism, it's easy. It's not just about money, but it's still, right, wealth, power, fame. Look at all the top female stars. Look at all the top female models. Look at all the top female CEOs. They all embrace feminism because the group elevates them. You are giving up your power so that a woman can win, just so you have the ego of saying, hey, we tore down the patriarchy. Why? Because it's an addiction. But the main goal of feminism is political power. With that comes wealth and fame. But it's done, right, primarily for political power because it guarantees the vote. You're now locked into misery. You're now wanting to get rid of that misery, and they keep promising you free healthcare and all these other things. So you keep thinking that's going to make me happy. I'm going to be secure. I'm not going to grow old but you do anyway. You grow old and miserable anyway. You grow old and lonely anyway. And no amount of cats is going to stop that. The group only takes. And eventually, more and more women are walking away because they realise that they're not getting rights. They are eroding the most fundamental right of all, freedom of choice. That's why they delude you that freedom of choice is abortion, right? By limiting your scope to narrow, lowest common denominator slogans, they are eroding your ability to think, make decisions, and have a fulfilling life. They're all their benefits, all their gains are short-lived. Nothing is free. They always take more than they give. As for women's magazines, they're run by the wives of extremely wealthy people. They are funded by wealthy fashion houses and female-dominated businesses. Increasingly, they are not there to help you, but to keep you addicted to misery, so that while they sell you comfort, they sell you comfort at 100% profit, and that comfort's short-lived. You'll eventually run into someone with that. That's why these dresses are so expensive. They sell a few and spread them out over multiple locations, because they've made you convinced that you need a new outfit every day to feel special and happy. How do they do that? By having the weather girl wear a different outfit every day and be bright and bubbly. You fill in the rest. That's what you do when you don't have all the information. You fill in the rest, and you do it with the lowest common denominator. So you do it with the information that's on hand, and that on hand is the women's magazines. Remember, there used to be a time women's magazines put a new issue every day. It's every day of the first week of every month, there'd be a new issue of a different woman's magazine. There used to be over a dozen. So the first 2 weeks of every month, there'd be a new magazine every day. And then you'd spend the next 2 weeks waiting for a new one. They used to put them in the doctor's offices. Eventually, women would read them at the supermarkets, at the checkouts. And eventually, like, half of them would get sold. The other half would get donated to the doctor's office. And then eventually it was... lots of them shut down. Name some of them, right? Some magazines are still in print, but you used to have over a dozen magazines. Now there's, 6 predominant ones. But sure, over time, again, the magazine wants to sell you comfort, telling you that your worth is a $600 dress, $300 shoes, $30,000 handbag, $6,000 jewelry, and you're now addicted to misery. You're now addicted to a lifestyle you cannot afford. What do? You turn to trying to get rich men, trying to get lots of men, eventually trading favors for Gucci, and the next thing you know, you are alone and miserable with cats, and no one wants to be around you because you literally smell 24/7 of misery. Why is that? Because misery is an illusion. Luxury is an illusion. They sell you luxury at a massive markup and then stroke your ego and take you for what you're worth. And all they do is walk away with the money and power while you are trapped in a cycle of misery. No man wants to be around you for long. You literally start to smell of misery. I can't describe the smell to you, but you know it yourself. You've all smelt it. You've all avoided that girl in the office with the excess perfume. You've all dated that girl who started bright and bubbly, but the more you dig, the more you've been around her, you start to notice something is off. It is an odor that you cannot describe because you're literally not smelling it. It's something in your mind. It is telling you that there's something wrong, that this person, that they start off happy every time they see you, but they are carrying misery. Whether that misery, though that misery is often unhealed trauma, there are many causes of that. The victim mindset, envy, greed, attention seeking. Envy and greed come under unhealed trauma. Blame, the need to blame others, that they cannot accept and move on from their mistakes or failures in life, or they need to constantly test, they're insecure, and they've gone up and broken up relationships in the past. All these behaviors add up. This is the problem. Women have been indoctrinated to not let go. I do not believe that women naturally behave the way they do right now. I believe most of it is learned behavior. We can see this in the past with more successful relationships. And even again, some people totally flipped, right? You look at, I hate using Jeff Bezos and Mackenzie Bezos, or Mackenzie Scott, whatever she wants to call herself now, or Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. A lot of people started happy. Wealth destroyed them. But you look at it, right? Melinda, she used, don't tell me, she used excuses, but the reality is that she could no longer stand, right? She needed external validation, and she was no longer the center of attention, so she had a hissy fit. Money, men have been made to believe that money and success will make them happy, but they've been so conditioned to what success looks like that they don't realize they've already got it when they have a family, or when they have a shelf full of models they've built, or finish that model railway project, or anything. I've got success. I've completed books and still complete books. I make videos that at least a couple of hundred of you, in some cases thousands of you, enjoy. That's still success. The problem is people think success has to be that narrow, I'm at the top of the shit pile. Well, look at the people at the top of the shit pile. They're turtles. Someone put them on that post, right? I won't go into names, but someone put them on that post. They don't know how they got there. They just keep repeating what they're told to do, and the whole system revolves around them. Money's artificially thrown at them. We don't know that a lot of the big feminists were funded by the CIA through women's studies. US aid has not been going to aid the poor. It's used for propaganda, and that's why they hate Trump so much. Don't have to believe me, and and if you think I'm glazing Trump, that's up to you, but I am just giving you my honest assessment. Before I go, I'd like to remind you that I have a merch store, so please check out the links in the description below and visit the Empire of Elves today. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the channel. You can support me on Patreon, buy my books, buy my merch, and thank you to each and every one of you. Yes, I forgot Ko-Fi. Yes, and I do appreciate each and every one of you, however, and I'd like to see you all in the next video. Bye for now.